A lot ahead on the show this morning on GTV. Breakfast, Tea and Val brought you the rundown of what to expect, health, politics, and the lighter side as entertainment. I'm bringing you the news now. I am Altiti Saida Sadiq. Follow our stream at GTV Ghana on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitter. If you're on the move, you can watch us there. Wherever you are in Africa and the world, you can watch us on DSTV channel 278. So local health, politics, we'll do trade, and then we'll take you to the international front. Now, Justice Gertrude Araba Esaba Saki Tokonu is formerly Ghana's Chief Justice. She was sworn in by President Akufo-Addo at the Jubilee House in Accra. She becomes the third female Chief Justice in Ghana's history.
Justice Gertrude Araba Esaba Tokonu hails from Winneba in the central region of Ghana. She was born on 11th of September 1962 in Cape Coast. She attended Wesley Girls High School, where she obtained her ordinary level certificate, and Achimota School for her advanced level certificate. She is an alumnus of the University of Ghana and graduated from the Ghana School of Law in 1986. In 2001, she obtained a postgraduate diploma in international law and organization from the International Institute of Social Studies, part of Erasmus University in the Netherlands. In 2011, she graduated from the Golden Gate University, USA, with an LLM in intellectual property law. Prior to joining Fugger & Co., a law firm in Accra, as an associate, Justice Tokonu worked as a volunteer at the Federal Legal Aid Service and had her internship with Nebaro Nathanson in London, and later returned to Fugger & Co. in 1994 to become a director. In January 1997, she co-founded Sozo Law Consult, where she worked as managing partner until 14th of May 2004, when she was appointed a Justice of the High Court of Ghana. She worked as a High Court judge until October 2012, when she was elevated to the Court of Appeal. Justice Tokonu was nominated to the Supreme Court of Ghana in November 2019 and was sworn into office on 17th of December 2019. She was one of the first justices of the Commercial Division of the High Court and has been active in the core reform agenda and activities of the judiciary and judicial service of Ghana since 2005. If approved, she would be the 15th Chief Justice of Ghana and the third female judge to occupy the position of Chief Justice, as previously held by Justice Georgina Theodora Wood from 15th of June 2007 to June 2017, and Justice Sophia Ekufu, who occupied the position from June 19, 2017 to 20th of December 2019.
Now, the International Labour Organization says Ghana has the highest rate of child labor, with about 21% of its childhood population participating in some form of child labor. On World International Day Against Child Labor yesterday, child labor advocates are hopeful that prompt action will be taken to eliminate child labor in all its forms.
Work that deprives a child of adequate education, health, leisure, and basic freedoms is child labor. The International Labour Organization estimates that about 160 million children globally are involved in activities that can be described as child labor. Some of these children are exposed to work in hazardous environments, slavery, and other forms of forced labor and illicit activities such as drug trafficking and prostitution, as well as involvement in armed conflicts. In countries such as Tanzania and Congo, economic hardships have forced many children to work in gold mines. South Sudan is also reported to have child soldiers endangering their lives at the battlefront. The International Labour Organization estimates that 2.1 million children work in cocoa production in Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire. Figures also show that about 21% of children ages 5 to 17 in Ghana are involved in some form of child labor, and 14% are engaged in hazardous forms of labor. As the world marks Day Against Child Labor, advocates are calling for commitment and action to eliminate all forms of child labor. In an interview with GBC News, the regional coordinator for Africa Global March Against Child Labour, Mr. Andrew Stego, said Ghana has made some progress in ending child labour in some communities.
We have succeeded in Kpando Toko, and the good news is that the people of Kpando Toko themselves, their colleagues are asking them, how did you do it? So we have now moved to Abotwase, and the people of Toko are assisting us in the union, and then the paramount chief of the area, and then the rest of the community child protection committees and the rest are assisting to make Abotwase also a child labor free area. There are problems there. One problem is that they have about 7 market days in the month. And the 7 market days, speaking to the chief, the children themselves, when the market day is coming, or on the market day, they declare the market day free. So every market day, children declare it school free. So although the teachers will come to school, it's their problem. The rest are doing serious business in the market and the serious business going to fishing. And when you investigate the root causes, you will notice that some of them are family heads. A 16-year-old who is feeding the family. So we have some who are real problems and they are hinged on poverty. Some of them too are just peer pressure that everybody is going. We have also come to a village called Aveme, and these are areas where we are extending child labor free zones to.
Mr. Tego is optimistic that by 2025 Ghana will be a child labor free country.
Looking at the numbers, looking at the facilities, looking at the actions, we all see that although we are very optimistic to be working towards that time, by that time we will not have all our children back to school or out of child labor. But what we are going to have that we can be proud of is we are going to have the systems in place to address the child labor. We will have the National Plan of Action, we will have the improvement of the Children's Act, we will have communities that are beginning to talk about child labor, we will have a general move away from denial to acceptance, and the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. And I believe Ghana have taken about 100 steps, but we haven't gotten to 1,000 yet. So let's join our hands, and with the trade union, with the government, with all of us, we can get to a child labor free country.
The 12th of June each year is marked as International Day Against Child Labor. This year's celebration is on the theme, Eliminating Child Labor. Let's act now and fast.
And now Ghana has regained its position as Africa's top gold producer and the 10th biggest producer globally, with a 32% jump recorded in gold production in 2022. The Ghana Chamber of Mines has said, and in a statement by the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, the statement said that Ghana has regained her position as Africa's #1 gold producing country. This remarkable feat is attributable to the policies and programs with the Ghana Chamber being implemented by the President Akufo-Addo's government in close collaboration with the Ghana Chamber of Mines. Gold production by large-scale mining companies increased from 2.72 million ounces in 2021 to 3.08 million ounces in 2022, whilst gold exports from the small-scale sector rose from 98,001 ounces to 655,656 ounces over the same period. Overall, the country's gold output increased from 2.82 million ounces in 2021 to 3.74 million ounces in 2022. It would be recalled that following the active intervention of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the Anglo Gold Ashanti Obuasi mine, which was put under care and maintenance in 2016, was revived in 2019. The Bibiani mine, which had been dormant for 7 years, was also revived in October 2022. The statement went further to say the revival of these two mines, the expansion of output by some existing mines, and reduction of the withholding tax rate on unprocessed gold by small-scale miners, which was introduced in 2015 from the 3% to 1.5%, have contributed significantly to Ghana's new position on the continent. Indeed, in 2022, the Anglo Gold Obuasi mine increased its gold production by 132% from the previous year, while the Bibiani mine, which had not produced gold in the last 7 years, contributed over 52,000 ounces to our gold output. Gold export from the small-scale sector also increased by nearly 570% in 2022 as compared to the previous year. In the next 2 years, gold production in Ghana is expected to increase exponentially with the coming on stream of 3 new large-scale mining operations, namely Cardinal Resources Namdini in the Upper East region, Azuma Resources in the Upper West region, and New Mount Ahafo North in the Ahafo area. Now, gold continues to be the bulwark of the Ghanaian economy, contributing some $6.6 billion in export receipts last year. Government remains committed to increasing the contribution of the mining industry to the local economy through local content and local participation, as well as value addition to minerals mined. It contains also that innovation gold for oil policy will ensure that we leverage our gold resources through a much more competitive trade and stabilize our currency while delivering cheap oil for our citizens. Government is grateful to the Ghana Chamber of Mines for their collaboration and partnership in achieving this feat, and government through the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources will continue to work with the Chamber and all other stakeholders in the spirit of transparency, integrity and utmost good faith to ensure optimal benefits from our mineral resources, particularly through value addition. Signed by the Honorable Samuel Abujinapo, the MP for Damongo constituency and the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. Now, the National Identification Authority has extended its premium registration services for the Ghana card to 5 regional offices. The exercise begins on June 12, 2023. Now, the offices are in the Volta, Bono East, Northern and Western North regions.
NIA, in a statement, said the centers will operate in addition to the premium centers at the NIA and CalBank head offices in Accra, including Ashanti, Eastern and Western regional offices. The statement noted the premium registration centers will offer fee-based registration services, namely first-time registration and issuance of a Ghana card for a fee of 280 Ghana cedis, replacement of lost, missing or damaged cars 110 cedis, and update of personal records that requires the printing of a new card will also attract a fee of 110 Ghana cedis. In addition, the NIA said the update services that will attract a fee include change or correction of applicant's name, change or correction of the order of an applicant's name, correction or addition of applicant's previous name or maiden name, correction of applicant's date of birth, change or correction of applicant's nationality, correction of applicant's gender, and change or correction of applicant's height. The NIA explained that its premium services will be based on online booking systems and a walk-in system.
And on health, members of the Tema Butchers Association have allayed the fears of meat lovers about the safety of cow meat sold within the enclave following the outbreak of anthrax in the northern part of Ghana. Many beef lovers have become perhaps too careful of consuming the meat. Our Tema regional correspondent Michael Diwanu was at the Tema Community 1 cow meat market and interacted with some butchers on how the outbreak of the anthrax disease has affected their business.
We are here at the Tema cattle market to find out from the butchers here what they know about this disease and how they handle their cattle before they come onto the market. We are joined by the treasurer for the association. Thank you so much for joining us. And please, your name and what you do here.
I'm Alaji Yunus, treasurer of Tema Butchers Association.
Yeah, so we are told about the disease, the anthrax disease. What do you know about it and how do you get your meat here?
We also heard about that incident at Broku site. So what we heard is that there was a deaf animal and people have consumption with, and then they found some sickness in it. So because of that, they even closed that market for the past 2 weeks or 3 weeks today. When we go and buy the animals, the cattle there, there's veterinary officers there. They have to make sure that they've seen the animal, issue you a permit before you can take it to slaughter place and slaughter your animal. Before you even move your meat outside the slaughtering place, the veterinary officer have to check it. They will check it thoroughly. After that, they will put their stamp on it before you can even move the meat outside. So there's no need for anybody to panic.
We follow what the veterinaries tells us, and then our meat, as you can see it by yourself, is very neat, and our place of selling it are also neat, and we ourselves who are selling the meat are also neat.
Yeah. You just showed me the health.
We have the health. I show you. Sure. Yeah. So we have everything in line. Sure. Yes. So everybody should come and buy meat. We have nice meat, fresh meat, correct meat without the disease. Yeah.
For the greater Accra region, and especially here in Tema, if you are a meat lover, from the butcher's side, they said there's no cause for alarm. Just go about your business and go about consuming your meat that you love to consume, because they go through a number of factors, like going through the veterinary process, and they also slaughter their cows under some hygienic condition before it comes onto the market for sale. So for here in Tema, there is no fears for the consumption of your meat. For GBC News, my name is Michael Dawonu.
And away from Tema, but still on food security, players in fisheries management have advised the member countries of the Fisheries Committee for West Central Gulf of Guinea to take stringent measures to address the depleting fish stock in the sea. Top on the agenda for discussion at a regional forum in Accra was food security, nutrition and employment. It was organized by the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO.
The forum was to assess the fisheries management system, and the ecosystem approach to fisheries can be used by countries in strategic and operational planning processes to determine whether they are making progress and identify challenges that need to be addressed. Participants at the regional forum shared ideas on implementation of the fisheries management systems in their respective countries, challenges and the way forward. Madame Abena Sewa Sante is the Fisheries Management Advisor of the Fisheries Committee for the West Central Gulf of Guinea, FCWC.
We do not necessarily have fast-track results in fisheries management. It's a gradual activity. Any activity you're doing to manage the fishery is a gradual one. The fishing closure is a good activity to help manage the fishery. For this tool, it helps you to establish that you have this tool or you have this management measure. How have you implemented it? And what results has it yielded? What were the weak points? How will you improve upon it? That's the essence of this tool. So with any management measure you put in place, this helps you to put everything you're doing in perspective and help you to project.
The EAF Nansen program of the Food and Agriculture Organization is to support regional and country-specific efforts to reduce poverty and improve food security as part of its strategic action plan. Member countries include Nigeria, Togo, Benin, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and Liberia.
And the port of Takoradi is on course to become the port of choice in the West African sub-region. This follows massive infrastructural projects embarked upon over the last few years under the stewardship of Captain Ebenezer Faji, who has been ceremonially pulled out of the port after the end of his tenure.
Captain Ebenezer Afezi, who became the director of the Port of Takoradi in 2015, started his career as a navigation officer on merchant ocean-going vessels in 1990. After 9 years of working at sea, he joined the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority in July 1999 as a pilot trainee and passed out as pilot in the year 2000. He then became a senior pilot in 2002 and chief pilot in 2005, and rose to the position of Harbour Master, which paved the way for his appointment as Director of Port in 2015. During his tenure, the port made a lot of progress, such as the completion of the automated dry bulk terminal project, construction of new liquid bulk terminal, and multi-purpose terminal project. Another sign of progress is the oil and gas terminal project under construction. The staff strength also grew from 830 to 1,070, whilst revenue generation also witnessed a huge growth, not only from the gas and oil, but from various operations undertaken at the port. In his farewell message, he advised the staff of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority to support his predecessor. He also called on the new director to endeavour to carry his team along in whatever decision he took. The new director of the port, Mr. Peter Amobediakon, commended the outgoing director for his exceptional leadership skills and for being a mentor to them. He noted that under Captain Afezi, the port experienced an incredible transition from being a seabed port facility to an international acclaimed port with about 17 beds for all types of vessels. He promised to ensure further improvement. He also expressed appreciation to the government and the board of directors for the confidence reposed in him to lead the port of Takoradi.
Away from Takoradi, following the successful implementation and completion of Phase 1 and 2 of the SECO project and its positive impact on the NPRA, it has begun a sensitization campaign across the country to create awareness of the new pension reforms. The Chief Executive of the NPRA, Mr. Hayford Atakrufi, said the key objective of Phase 2 is expected to help improve the authority's internal capacity and external oversight to enforce the compliance of service providers in the industry, and this, he says, has been executed as expected. Mr. Atakrufi said this at the just ended 4.2 million Swiss francs government-funded project, which started in 2014.
The World Bank is not new to NPRA. When NPRA was established in 2010, it was the World Bank that came to our aid in the very formative years. And indeed, it's through the World Bank that we became known to the Swiss government, and then this engagement or support came. So the World Bank is always a developing partner that we can always rely on. They have always and consistently shown support for the pensions industry. They have assisted us in many diverse ways, even in our thrust into the informal sector. Currently, we are involved in pension clinics and market activations across the country. So it is something which is an ongoing activity that we undertake. Our aim is to reach all the 16 regions of the country. Even if we are not physically present, we'll be able to organize sensitization programs. Our aim is to bring the message across to the whole nation that pension is not only for the formal sector, pension is for all, especially those who are in the informal sector. Because of the perception that pension is for the formal sector, it has to really go down for people to wake up from that kind of wrong or negative perception. So it becomes even more important that we do more. Up to about last 2 years, there was only 1% of Ghanaians who are in the informal sector who had registered onto a pension scheme one way or the other. But currently, it's now 6%. So the progress is being made, even though it's slow, but it's steady. And in our strategic plan, we have aimed that by 2026, we should be able to move it to 25% of the working population.
Now, roping in the self-employed onto the pension scheme net operated by SSNIT is gaining momentum, and as part of the sensitization drive, SSNIT has met with some media personnel in Accra to educate them about the self-employed enrollment drive seized.
Agriculture. It also aimed at building the capacity of the local people in protecting their culture and food heritage. The annual Seed and Local Food Fair was organized by the Center for Indigenous and Organizational Development, CICOD.
And let's take you to the international front. Now, Nigeria's international debt surged after President Bola Tinubu sacked Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele over the weekend. Investors are sure his removal will allow President Bola Tinubu to better pursue his promise of resetting the monetary policy that has been blamed for crippling Africa's biggest economy. Governor Godwin Emefiele was suspended by Tinubu after the markets closed on Friday and then detained by Nigeria's State Security Service a day later for unexplained investigative reasons. Folashodun Shonubi, a deputy governor in charge of operations at the bank, took over in acting capacity. Still in Nigeria, Nigeria's new President Bola Tinubu has broken his silence on the scrapping of fuel subsidies since making the announcement when he was sworn in a fortnight ago. The decision led to a rapid rise in petrol prices.
President Tinubu told citizens, quote, "I feel your pain," unquote. In exchange for the ending of the subsidy, Mr. Tinubu promised that he would repay Nigerians, quote, "through massive investment in transportation, infrastructure, education, regular power supply, healthcare and other public utilities that will improve the quality of lives," unquote. But he said that sacrifices must be made to take resources away from the hold of a few unpatriotic elements. Though the ending of the subsidy was expected, the stark announcement in his first minutes in power took many by surprise. The subsidy had long been seen by many Nigerians as one of the few perks they received from the state, but it was also a huge drain on public finances.
Now, a delegation of European leaders has promised over $1 billion of financial assistance to Tunisia as part of a proposed wider agreement encompassing action to tackle migration. The head of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, and the Prime Ministers of Italy and Netherlands, Giorgia Meloni and Mark Rutte, have been holding talks with President Kais Saied. Ms. von der Leyen said the EU would provide Tunisia with over $100 million this year for border management, search and rescue, and returning migrants. She stressed both sides wanted to break what she called the cynical business model of people smugglers. Mr. Saied rejected Tunisia's acting as what he called a border guard for Europe. He's been accused by critics at home and abroad of democratic backsliding. And that's it for GTV Breakfast News. We'll go for a break, and right after that, you know where you can get more news though. Log on to our website, gbcghana online.com. After the break, we're bringing you e-pharmacy delivery, all about that, and BFS Clinic. A bit later, cleft surgeries and the support that can be given to people who are suffering this condition on the breakfast shows. Well, I'll be back at 7 with sports. I am Malti Tisaida Sadiq.